Hello everybody and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering Arena video. Today I am looking at another standard video. We are looking at a Dimir deck. So after the success of my Rakdos deck using Sheoldred and Liliana, I kind of wanted to play a bit more into that vein but try with blue as an additional colour instead of red. So I'll just go from the bottom up again. So we are running 2 cut downs. So I was running, I think, 4 in the last one, but what I've realised is this is actually really frustrating to have sat in your hand in the late game when they're just dropping creatures that this doesn't touch. So I don't actually ever want this many. I think 2 is plenty, especially in this deck where we've got a little bit of selection from our graveyard. Yeah, I think 2 is enough. 1 Dread Fugue for hand disruption, everyone knows that card. 3 Rona's Vortex, this is an uncommon, it's a blue with a kicker of 2 and a black, so for 4 total. Return target creature or planeswalker you don't control to its owner's hand, so you can't bounce your own things, but it does hit planeswalkers, unlike Fading Hope. If this spell was kicked, put that permanent on the bottom of its owner's library instead. So that is obviously effectively a destroy. So if you pay 4, you're basically destroying something, and it doesn't go into their graveyard. So that's actually an advantage in this set, as there's quite a lot of messing with graveyards. So it's basically a bounce early or a destroy late at instant speed. I mean, I think this is a real solid card. I think it's a sort of diamond in the rough of the uncommon rough. Yeah, I think this is really good. I'm going to try it out today. We're running for Founding the Third Path. This is a new read ahead saga for 2. Well, 1 and a blue. The first tier is you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 1 or 2 from your hand without paying its mana cost. So this is sort of a bit of a build around for the deck. We're running quite a few instants and sorceries that are 1 or 2, so that if we have this in our opening hand on turn 2, we can play this and hopefully play something. So whether that's a reaction to what the opponent has done, i.e. killing their staff, or looking into their hand if they're playing a more control-y deck, or improving our own by drawing, etc. So hopefully we'll always have something to play with Founding the Third Path. We are running 6, 8, 10, 14 cards that are mana value 1 or 2, so we should always have something. So tier 2 is target player mills 4 cards, so obviously we'll be targeting ourselves with this, given that tier 3 is exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard, copy it, you may cast the copy. So this is going to help us find the right instant or sorcery that we need to deal with whatever the opponent is doing. You'll have all noticed when I fired this up that we're running 4 Invoke Despairs, so you know, if it's not basically turn 5, we'll be pulling an Invoke Despair out of our graveyard, hopefully, if we've got the right mana, which reminds me, I want to tweak this a little bit like that, to pull these out, because obviously this card is really, really good, but obviously there's loads of other stuff in our graveyard that gives us flexible removals to dealing with stuff. 2 Infernal Grasp, 2 Pilfers, this is a new card, it's a 1 and a black sorcery, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-land, they discard it. So it's basically a flat discard. The reason we're running this rather than like some of the 1-drop ones, some more Dread Fugues, is that because we can play it for free sometimes, yeah, it's basically works well with Founding the Third Path, and also lets us hit anything and blah blah blah. 4 Tainted Indulgence. This is actually a banger of a card in this deck. So this is a blue and a black from New Capenna. Draw 2, then discard a card unless there are 5 or more mana values. So because this mills 4, you know, we're going to quite easily get up to 5 mana values in our graveyard. The one thing about this deck is we've only got 4 4-drops, so these can be the missing link, and 5 3-drops. But when we're dumping so much into our graveyard, we're going to get there quite quickly. Maybe not instantly. And that's what you get for having a curve. And yeah, if we draw 2 with Sheoldred down, which we're playing, that's also going to give us 4 life. Yeah, it's a pretty wicked card, I found. Running 2 Meathooks, needs no explanation. 2 Trespassers, no explanation. 3 Lilianas, so we played these last time, but for those who didn't see the last video, 2 black and 1 Planeswalker for 3 loyalty. +1, each player discards a card. Well, we don't mind discarding things, because we do have ways of playing instants and sorceries from our graveyard with Founding the Third Path. So, you know, we've got ways of getting them back. So typically we'll be discarding instants and sorceries. Also, we could discard the right thing to make our Tainted Indulgence work, is in other words have the 5 mana values. So if we're missing 4, I can discard a 4, so that this then would draw me 2 and I won't have to discard later. So even though I discard one that turn, it could save me from having to discard one down the line. -2, target player sacks a creature. Obviously her sort of main line of defense. -6 is the opponent has to sack half their permanents in short. So very sort of controlling, grindy planeswalker, which works well with a controlling, grindy card like Invoke Despair, and some of our sort of controlling 1 and 2 drops. 3 Sheoldred the Apocalypse, 4/5 Death Touch, 2 black 2. It is legendary and it has Death Touch, so whenever you draw a card you gain 2 life. When an opponent draws a card they lose 2 life, so this has also kind of got a bit of that like grindy mid-range feel to it. So as a base it's doing a 2 life drain from the opponent to us sort of each turn cycle, and obviously if we draw more or they draw more, this is going to like impact more. So a 4/5 for 4 with Death Touch really isn't that bad stat line, plus this 2 drain effect. I think this is a really strong card, as it proved in my last video. And I think goes well with our kind of like grind the match to a halt style that we're going with the rest of the deck. 1 Sorin because card advantage is nice. I didn't want to run 4 Sheoldred, so we've got one of these to sort of top up our 4 costing things. So we're running 3 Sphinx of Clear Skies. This is a new card to this deck in terms of I've not used it before. It's a 5 costing 5/5 flying Sphinx of Ward 2, so it's relatively difficult to remove. 5 toughness plus Ward 2 is hard to remove. And it has Domain. Whenever Sphinx of Clear Skies deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles, put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So it's got that fact or fiction effect. That's the name of the card that originally introduced this effect into Magic the Gathering. Basically, as long as we've got at least 2 land types, we're going to get at least 1 card every time, a choice between the top 2. If we've got 3, we're going to either be able to choose 2 bad ones or 1 good one, effectively. And if we've got 4, the opponent's probably going to have to give us 2 cards. So this is why we are running 2 Raffine's Tower and 2 Xander's Lounge, to give us that red land and the white land. So in theory, in this deck we can get up to 4 different land types. Depending on how effective this is, I could like diversify my mana base more, but because we're running Invoke Despair, I don't want to mess around with it too much. So testing this sort of with it as is at the moment with just 4 extra lands to deal with, sort of mess about with Sphinx. But because we're running quite cheap spells as well, I didn't want to go too wild with the tap lands. So I've kind of gone for a compromise. We'll see how this ends up. That is the deck. I think Liliana's really strong. I think Sheoldred's really strong. And I think this Rona's Vortex could be a really nasty combo founding the 3rd path, as it should always give us an answer to whatever they're doing. So let's have a few games and see how we get on. Okay. Game 1, here we go. Why would I play blue first when I have this glorious 1 costing instant? I'm not sure there's anything that's good to target it with 1 though, but look at this. Okay, so yeah, we can do 1. Get a Tainted Indulgence done. Let's discard Cut Down. We can always cast it on the 3rd cycle if we want. Sure. Yeah, me. So I think we do Founding the 3rd Path again. Pilfer. Okay, so they can't Riveteers, so we'll get rid of Liliana, shall we? Oh, they can Riveteers. Whoops. But anyway, oh, we topped another Liliana. Okay.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate it when people drop it.
Indulgence, I suppose. Get drawing. We're just sort of in a bit of a weird cycle at the moment, but it's going okay. I mean, we've gotten out of missing our land drops, which we would have done otherwise, but this isn't going to cast us anything too useful. Okay, we can discard
Don't
the tower.
things.
Should we Pilfer? Yeah, let's Pilfer. Let's get rid of their Invoke Despair. It's as if we're getting rid of your charm anyway. Okay, they have the Trespasser, which is slightly painful, but we do need another black to get rid of the Liliana before the end of next turn, but we've got the Vortex to put it on bottom if we have to. Just means I won't be able to discard the Vortex to Infernal Grasp to kill the Trespasser this turn. But I don't think we need to this turn, because if we draw the black, the Despair is going to take care of all that anyway. So we'll probably discard the Grasp to Liliana, assuming that we get plus, although it depends if they want to discard this or not. No. Interesting. Okay, we can't jam the Sphinx because of Liliana. So I think we just stick her on the bottom. Because, yeah. It'd be good to get the Sphinx down next turn. Hard to remove apart from to Invoke Despair, which we're already through one of. Getting another one now anyway. Excuse me. Right. Sheoldred, okay. Let's put the Sphinx and see if they can deal with it. Okay, they can get rid of our Invoke, but they probably won't, just because we can't cast it, okay? I'm wrong. Ah, because they have Fable, I guess they don't want that getting removed. Okay, so we only get 2 piles because we haven't found any of our lands, but so be it. Oh, pretty vicious options, I think. We'll choose this one, shall we? So we can Sheoldred and then Vortex away the this token. Have I got the sound bug again? I thought they'd fix this. Have they managed to bring it back? For God's sake. Oh, that's vicious. These 4 more life off Fable, just to draw more land. Massacre for 6, that's nice. Okay, hopefully our Sheoldred will get us across the line here. Depends what they top deck, obviously, but we've got a Grasp. Get rid of the Soul of Windgrace. Ay, ay, ay. That's pretty nice. We hold that. We don't need to use it on the reflection. They have to block, otherwise they're dead. To drawing a card. So now we're in a pretty nice position. Sweet. It's a decent game one. Let's restart the game, fix the sound bug and go again. Next one. Tess. They're going for their diamond already, look at that. Okay. This looks pretty decent. We'll start with our lounge, get it in early. Mono black again. Plenty of mono black around at the moment. I think we'll just Indulgence. Shall we throw this blue away maybe? Yeah. I think I will Founding the third path on one. Then we will grasp this underdog. Let's see what we're dealing with. Liliana, yeah, fine.
No more distractions. Let's make this quick. Drop it.
Pitch the Meathook. We will mill. Mostly lands into Sorin. Plus. Yeah, we can take that. More to discard if we need to. Keen to get my Invoke Despair down, especially now. Mono black control is the flavour of the week. Land for them. Yep. So we can ditch this Rona's that they can see. So we can copy any of this. Interesting. Maybe an Indulgence. Discard the Liliana. Yeah. Let's create a vampire to give them something to deal with. Okay. Bit painful. I suspect we discard this Vortex as well. So I think we'll invoke. Probably just kills the Sorin, unfortunately. And then they minus the Liliana, kill half our lands. Possibly. Oh. No, Liliana down. Good. Managed to hit something with that, it's nice. So that's nice that we've got another Invoke Despair. They think they're going to ultimate Sorin. They shouldn't be able to. Wonder if they'll Underdog or Rager. Okay, Rager. Good, no more Planeswalkers, so we can get rid of the Sorin as well. Unfortunately no more land, but this is now draw 2. So we can read ahead. No. Haven't really got anything in our own graveyard either. Being hit by an underdog, fine. So probably Sheoldred, and then we'll draw to gain 4 life. Got the Vortex to return something they cast to their hand. Although they have got 8, so we'd have to do it in their end step to keep it there probably. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'd kill that too. Can play another one and hold open Vortex. If they, considering they use Meathook, that's why I played the other Sheoldred, because it's unlikely they've got further removal. I'm having to think a lot about what I'm doing, but so you could bring back a Planeswalker or the Liliana, because then they can minus and get rid of the Sheoldred.
Those who get in my way tend
But then we
to
can
regret it.
put this on the bottom.
One of your friends has to leave.
So I think we'll Invoke Despair and then Founding the Third Path, mill ourselves. Because then we can Invoke Despair again next turn. Yeah, just checking our library status. They'd have to do well as mono black to not die to Invoke Despair here. I guess they could in theory try and exile 1, 2, no, there's too many. 3 in our graveyard. GG. And that is another one. 2 for 2. Let's carry on onwards and upwards. Okay, next game. Desai, I'm not sure how you say that. Desai, probably. Yeah, that's pretty good. We can Founding and play Indulgence. Although, again, I've got this islands problem. I probably need to tweak the land base in this deck. At least I can discard them. The read ahead on this card is super nice though. Being able to skip that first bit if you haven't got one. Nice. Yeah, on ourselves. And then we'll do another one. And then Pilfer. Blue black again. I mean, I'm just playing against the same fucking decks. Trespasser is probably the most nasty. Kaito's not great, but at least they're having to discard.
Hope you're ready for some. Our eyes are everywhere.
I will take the Indulgence, I think, to try and find a land. We found one. Probably ditch Liliana. No, we'll ditch the Grasp because we can always replay it from our graveyard. They are going to draw now, but they have the Grasp or the Pilfer. Maybe a Pilfer the Invoke Despair. Don't really want to be hit by that. Just in case, you never know what the auto tapper's going to do. And then we'll do like this. And force them to sack their ninja.
But I'm taking the credit when we win.
We can cast our Sphinx. Obviously, they can get rid of it, but it'll cost them a whole turn and 2 lives. So, I think it's still a good plan. Okay, underdog to get rid of Lily. I understand that. You can plus Kaito as well. It's pretty nice.
When I'm not wanted.
I know something you.
If I draw black, I'll probably would have invoked, but let's do this and force them to deal with it. Problem is we can't get these grasps completely out of their hands, so got to jam this at some point and make them deal with it. Give us time to draw black, hopefully. There we go. Sadly, the Oh, they're gonna use... Oh, I thought they were... Yeah. It's looking okay. I mean, we've got another Founding to pull out the Invoke out of our graveyard. Another Kaito.
The system can't fix everything.
Underdog again. To allow the draw. That's nice.
Thanks. I'll be taking that.
Can't interact with Kaito this turn, so probably Founding to play the Indulgence. Play this for 0. Just to stop the underdog being so profitable for them. If it costs 3 every time, it's a little less nice. And we've got the Grasp if they play anything permanent. Like that. Still a good draw for them though, isn't it, with the Kaito? That's decent. Yeah, we'll do it on ourselves. Got the Fugue in the graveyard as well now. I mean, that Rona's is just for a disaster scenario, I suppose. We can Invoke Despair again next turn. They have now got a creature, which we could return to their hand this turn. Interesting to see what they play now. And just a non-hasted underdog. Don't want to get too low, I suppose. If they don't drop any more creatures, I probably will bounce the token just so that we can use the third path to cast a Despair and take out an underdog. Yeah, we'll do it now. I don't think this counts as kill or just dies anyway, but never mind. Obviously just trying to even this out, which I totally understand. Would do that too. So if we do cast Invoke Despair, we won't be able to drop our Sphinx, but it does get rid of the Meathook. And draws this card. Pretty nice card. We already played a land, okay. Oh no, just, do we want this land? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 8. This costs 9 to play both, so yeah, I'd say we do want it as a land. Also, it makes the Sphinx much better to have an extra card. They have to give us 2 cards each time it hits. Not that it's going to hit because of Grasp, but hey ho. So, I'm not entirely sure what we've got left. Make disappears, 3 Sheoldreds left, and 2 Invoke Despairs, 2 Cruelties. Yeah, I'd say we've got our good stuff left. They should get rid of the Sorin, given they have an answer for the Sphinx. Now they've got a choice which creature to get rid of. I guess it's still the Sphinx, but definitely tougher. Meathook does mean this costs 3 life as well. Could hit with their Bankbuster, but choose not to. I'll play this out first just to try and bait the destroy. Okay. We did get a destroy, which means if they don't have another one for Sheoldred, we're in a pretty nice place, because this will cost them 2 at the start of their turn. If they've got another grasp, obviously they die anyway. So it'd have to be a non-grasp destroy for Sheoldred. Now if they remove Sheoldred, they die anyway as well. Being able to bait that out is obviously a bit ridiculous, because they should just wait until my second main. Although I suppose if they wait till end... Yeah, they could wait till the end to kill this. Yeah. But it's a bit often... It's weird how often that kind of thing works. Smaller edges can make a big difference. Ah, okay, that's the one way of killing it that will work. Although, isn't it mine go on the stack first? Yeah, okay. No, it won't work. GG. That one felt a bit closer. It was an interesting game, but yeah, came through again. Nice one, 3 for 3. Alright, next game. Metal Phoebe. I tend to find at the start of like a new set, I'll tend to win more than I will later. I think just because when there aren't loads of net decks out there, the average player is a bit worse. Like for me, because I brew all the time just playing new random decks, being able to just design something isn't that difficult, but oh my god. But interesting. Okay. That ley line of binding is going to be nice with the Raffine's Tower. And Jetmir's Garden, very nice. Yeah, I just think the average deck is worse because people don't know what they're doing building decks in general. I think we won't need the Meathook. Didn't get another land though, did we? Wow. Yeah, got our land now. At least Invoke Despair can get us this back. It's actually quite nice. There's no point really putting that in their graveyard because they can just replay it with Sarah's Paragon, so better off doing this, I think. Let's get rid of the Make Disappear. Doesn't look like they've got many ways to deal with my stuff, so let's get some value at Sheoldred. I mean, obviously they've got more ley lines, possibly, but next time we'll have the blacks to get rid of the ley line binding. Although I guess they still have the companion to lose as a enchantment. So if they took this as... Yeah, they'd have to then take their Paragon as the creature, so I suppose it works in our favour. Okay, yeah. We will use that, and we will put the Paragon back in their hand. Reset them back to nothing, with Sheoldred still draining them. It's pretty good. We've got an Invoke Despair in the graveyard for turn 3 of Founding as well, which is nice. And a Sphinx to keep them busy in the meantime, so this could work well. Celestus, that is an unusual choice. I mean, they obviously think this game is going on longer than I think it is. Have something else to deal with. Make Disappear. Interesting. In their like what, white, mostly white deck with Make Disappear. I hope you've got an answer to me casting Invoke Despair next turn. I still think this card is hard to know what it does until you play with it yourself a little bit. Even I'm still getting used to it. Yeah, well, I've got another one in my hand as well now, I suppose. But yeah, GG. God, the fact that you get extra life off that as well is so brutal. What a combo. Okay, another one in the bag. Let's keep going. Straight into another one. I love it. I love the beginning of the season because everyone's queuing. Everyone wants to play. Okay, we can Shipwreck Marsh first, and then we can Founding the third path out. Our one cost of either if we need it, just in case we run into land problems. No, we're okay at the moment. So we don't need to cast either of those, so we'll put it straight on 2. So we can cast the Vortex out of our graveyard, but they don't cast a creature, so... we have to exile, so we'll get rid of the Vortex. That's interesting. I wonder if it wasn't worth me playing this, or I'm not sure. Maybe we should be running Impulse, although it doesn't... no, it's not as good as Indulgence in this deck. Okay, I've got to try jamming this, although... okay, that's gone through, which is nice. So we got rid of the Vortex in here, but I think the Vortex is going to be more useful than Cut Down against Blue White, just because it interacts with Planeswalkers. March, okay. Let's see what interaction they've got for Liliana. None. I think we'll have to put one of these in the... although... ugh. They don't have any creatures really. We'll get rid of the Vortex. Fuck it. It means I don't do anything for a turn, but Invoke Despair is too good in these control-y matchups. Because unless they can counter it, it's just vicious. I hope for their sake they can deal with Liliana before it gets to the top. Okay, we've got something to attack it.
Let your blade do the talking. We must protect the people.
You picked a fight with the wrong necromancer.
So let's attempt and Invoke Despair. I'm expecting it to be countered given 5 open mana in blue-white, but they didn't counter something earlier that I thought they would. Oh, the Liliana. So we can minus and get rid of the remaining one. Obviously they can flash in another one, but if they do that, Liliana's done pretty good value.
Personal space.
Just a deluge, that's okay. I mean, to be honest, who goes straight to playing blue-white control on any set? You have to be some kind of literal deranged sociopath for this. Sorry, Rocket Bear, but it is true.
Sorry, I'm not interested in dying.
You gotta be fucked up for that. Yeah, Sorin. I got the counters now. Obviously we can just claim our clue at the end of this. Oh, don't know. Just so we don't hold priority for too long. Ah, nice. Finally, some of our anti-control cards. Ugh. Can still play the Cruelty, I suppose. Let's give this a go. We just want to see what they've got. Because if they've got counters, there's no point jamming Invoke Despair anyway. Okay. So, are there any creatures we want back? There are no creatures, so let's have a look at their hand. I'm going to stick this on 1. I doubt they've got a creature, but we just want to see. Silver Scrutiny. And then we should get the turn 2 anyway. So they're planning on doing Deluge, which is fine. They could Otawara our Gix. It's too late for that now. Ability has gone on the stack. So what would we like in our hand? At the moment they have no removal. So a Sphinx is pretty nice, but a Sheoldred is very nice. Sheoldred is nice because they've got draw spells basically. And then even if they destroy it, this turn we get it back with Gix. Yeah, Impulse is pretty nice. I wonder if the more control-y decks are the ones we lose to. Well, we haven't really played against much aggro. Often what you see in a lot of like early meta is aggro. Nothing. That's interesting, isn't it? I guess then our Gix fizzles. See if they'll let us do 4 damage to them. Hope this works. If this gets countered, we're in trouble. Where's my manlands? This is where having the hives and things would be beautiful. I wonder what the win con is. Is it their own Sphinxes, or what's the deal here? Is it just a CGB deck, like a just witness the future is the win con? Let us deck ourselves. Two witness the futures, and you just keep cycling your own shit back in. Yeah, that's the win con, isn't it? Yeah, okay. That is a loss, sadly. I felt close. It feels like with a couple more counters or a couple more hand disruptions we could beat that, but I don't want to tweak the deck just yet to try and deal with that. Let's see how often it comes up. And again, icky. Fine, we've got an interaction spell, and turn 4 isn't too late to wait, is it, from the play? We'll see. We'll see. Well, we've got our lands now. Yeah, I wonder if nothing's going to happen until turn 4. Okay, there we go. That's something. Give me something to shoot at least. Sheoldred is nice now, like, because if they draw off of the Fable, if they discard draw off the Fable, it's bad for them. Unless they kill it ahead of discard drawing, which they have. We haven't really seen the Sphinx show up much in our game so far. Be nice to top deck one now. No. Let's keep jamming these. There's only so much removal one deck can have. Grixis tends to draw cards, right? So. Look at 3 and put 1 in your hands. It's not really a draw. It's a bit nasty because they could just find another grasp for my Sheoldred. And they've got this copying combo thing going down here. Ugh, even worse. Destroying combo. See if we can find ourselves a destroy. Hey. I think this Sheoldred is not going to be long for this world. I mean, they can't kill it next turn with the Blood Tithe, but... I think we'll put the Liliana in now. Force a bit of action here. Probably ditch the Corpse Appraiser so that they've got the Harvester Reflection combo, which means we can attack. Get in for 2 more with Sheoldred. It's going to be one of those try and grind them out before they get to the ball rolling too much, I think. There. Got their own Lily.
With the mysteries.
I've always hated clowns.
Lily gone.
Fine. I know when I'm not wanted.
Let's do a Pilfer. See if we can remove removal. Okay, we can't. Let's say we could be okay. So they can copy the Harvester now and then copy it next turn and then kill the Sheoldred. At least they have to do it in their turn. Just needed some more removal. I mean, we've got it in the deck. There's 2 cut downs, 3 Ronas, 1 more Grasp, 2 Meathooks. It's just not
We
coming.
all have things we'd rather.
Guess a Meathook now would be pretty nice. Get this back to parity. Minus Lily, obviously. Oh, come on, Meathook. Where are you? That is not it.
No more distractions.
Getting rid of the Harvester. Confident no more creatures are coming up for us then. Guess they know they got Lily to deal with something, but... Corpse Appraiser can just find them more, yeah. We need our Meathook boy. They didn't have great choices again, so... Absolute metric ton of mana for the opponent.
I'm not interested in dying today.
What does that get us back? A Sorin or a Lily, but can't do both, so we'll do it in their turn. They might target one of our things on our graveyard and we can just steal it back. We've got an infinite Kiki Jiki combo now, which basically means dead unless we can find a Meathook this turn. Oh, we're going to be forced to discard this, or whatever we pull back. Come in and Meathook. No, it's not Meathook. Oh, it's a shame. Again, it feels like we just got a little bit out controlled with the reflections, not enough removal that time. Curious. Feels like it's starting to turn into a best of 3 deck. If we're sometimes missing things that we have, but we just don't have them at the right times, it's starting to feel best of 3. And the next one. Play till win? No, not even any point doing that really. Right. This is keepable. Got one of our foundings, which is what we want. Into an indulgence or whatever we need. Get ourselves nice and milled. Find some Invoke Despairs. I mean, this is this combo is reliable for finding Invoke Despairs to play. The problem is if you play it on turn 2, you don't have the mana to play them, but they're there for future. I guess this could be quite nice with, I know, because this is instants and sorceries only. Okay. I guess if you paired this with Gix and then had some creatures you wanted back as well, which we have got one of, haven't we? 2 of. Already running the combo I just thought of in my head. Come on, opponent. Ay. People are slow sometimes, aren't they? Very slow. Hello? Alright. The sound of that clearly brought them back to life. Sound of themselves timing out. Right, let's see if we can get the Sphinx to do any work for us this game. Harvester. Maybe we'll play the Grasp then. If they're going to be creature based. Nicer to have this to be able to replay from the graveyard maybe. Playing Grixis again.
Nobody knows Dominaria shadows like me.
Yeah.
Drop it.
Hit 1 indulgence gone. Haha, already got this up to 4. Shame not quite 5. But excuse me. The problem with having Lily down is our Sphinx is dead meat, so we have got an Indulgence to play now. Indulgence or Grasp next turn for not for free, but free card. Sadly, we can't do our Invoke Despair, which is really our Planeswalker removal. This blue land. I could have discarded the Sphinx, but we already have a 5 costing one in there, so we've got 0, 2, 4, 5. The opponent's working out if they still want to make us discard.
You won't be outsmarting me.
I think the Sphinx. We don't have an incredible use for it because we have no way of removing Liliana. And we need the extra black source. Yeah, we'll just Indulgence. Oof. Could put our Lily in the graveyard, get ourselves up to all the different mana values. And do we want to put their Lily back in their hand? Maybe. Because if they replay it, they're wasting their turn effectively. Although if we get forced to discard, I will probably have to discard the Founding, although I don't want to. Well, we're not. Just running with the card advantage at the moment, which I understand, I would do the same. But if we get Sorin down, it's a different ball game.
I
potentially bring back our Lily as well now, or a Sheoldred. Opponent with 6 and we're only on 5. Ah, fuck's sake. That's a bit annoying. Wow. Well, we'll Takenuma and bring back our Sorin if we get the chance to. Probably bring back whatever they target in our graveyard if they do that, to deny them that draw. Yeah, we'll bring that back. Just to deny them the Corpse Appraiser. I mean, the problem is they can Lily it away, but that is life. We've got to do this and take our draw to see if we can find something to stop them burning us down. No, not really. So with this they get us down to 2. If they then have a Sheoldred or anything similar, we're just dead. That'll do. Grixis Nemesis, clearly. We'll have to play to win, I suppose, now. Now I've lost a few in a row, but I don't feel like... I feel like it's close. Maybe we'll have a quick look at the deck. Okay, so just having a quick look at what we can do here. I'm thinking these could be a bit expensive. We've got too many 5-drops. And not loads of great creatures to bring back. I mean, it's nice against like the big green things, basically, but we'll ditch those for now. So what we're struggling against? We're struggling against Liliana. We're struggling against lots of creatures. So Meathook, more Meathook potentially good. More Discard potentially good. Counter, I don't really want too many because of the founding. In fact, we can almost get rid of that. It doesn't play very well with this. I think I'd rather have another Pilfer. I'm wondering if we just go let's have a look at what we've got for 3, because this is our bit like missing in our curve really, and I know we didn't really want instants and sorceries there clogging us up, but braids can sacrifice something to help us draw. Good for sacking Lily when we don't need her anymore. Sacking Founding when we can't cast something. We're not going to have loads though. You may sacrifice a creature, we don't really have any. Not particularly useful. 20 or more cards in your graveyard, I mean... I guess we're sort of tempted, we're kind of going to hit that, but I just... 20 is too many. We're going to hit it too late. Maybe just a Trespasser is the best thing. Let's stick Trespassers in. Alright. Let's see if that makes any difference. I mean, we'll probably get paired against something completely different this time. That's exactly how this game works, but let's see. Yeah, fine. Got some cheap stuff to do. Yeah. Something completely different. I haven't even seen green-white. Put myself back over the right side, the correct side I should say. Don't make me regret not keeping my black for enchantments. Let's Pilfer this. It's just the old enchantments that it's just the old bullshit. Got to get rid of the Reign of Truth. Why would you do this? Like, I do not understand people who, when a new set comes out, they just want to play the same old shit. It's just so weird to me. It's so weird. I mean, they're tapping themselves out, so I kind of have to kill some things here, don't I? I could put the Kami back in their hand and cut down the visitor. Well, they don't have the safekeeping. And then we can clean up whatever they play next turn with a Meathook, hopefully. Unless they Kami and then Weaver. They could. Nope. Visitor and then Weaver maybe. If they Weaver and put the 1/1, no, I'm not even doing that. Alright. Get rid of all that. I don't like playing like a anti-creature control. It goes against my soul a little bit, but it's what we have to do against this bullshit deck. Okay, we're just going to Sheoldred, I think, and start draining them. Don't know what removal they'll have for Sheoldred. It'll be like the ley line maybe, or some, if they've got a new card splash in here, that's what it'll have to be. But then they don't seem to be running, you know, the lands of many types. Just borrowed time, just the classic old school. Why mess about? Just go for the same old shit. Well, just bring me an Invoke Despair at some point, and I'll be a happy boy. A land this turn would be nice. Thank you. We'll put our Sphinx in, because they're going to struggle to get rid of that now. They've got no removal in hand. They're going to have to top deck. Yeah, I don't know what they can do to get rid of that. Borrowed Time won't do it, because of the Ward 2. But won't do it next turn. And then they could play the Weaver that makes us a 4/4. They shouldn't be able to attack either. They can make their Kami a 5/5 now, I suppose. Yeah, if they put a counter on it with the visitors, yeah, fine. 6/6 even. I'm not sure what we have to remove that. Just Grasps, is it? Which we have a Vortex in the graveyard, so I guess playing this is nice because we can Indulgence this turn and Trespasser. Probably, yeah. See if we find a Grasp. We don't. I think we'll have to ditch this. Can't really attack because if they swing team, we need to be able to stop this. Sadly. I mean, they can Tamiyo's that, but we don't need to block it this turn, so we won't. Better off keeping our things around for a turn, see if we draw anything to help us deal. We don't. Let's mill them, shall we? What do we have in our graveyard? We don't have creatures, and we want them. A load of safekeepings. Have to take the creatures, I think. So that puts us up to 5. And if we attack with this and we block with these two, so this will take 2. So we'll take 5, so we can't attack. Nope. Just gonna have to hold on. But I'm looking forward to vortexing this Kami. So they're going to use the Tamiyos if we double Glutton block, but that's not the end of the world. Hopefully they don't have an instant pump. I don't see what they would. Yeah, just the Tamiyos, so that just basically is a destroy spell on a Glutton. Which is nice, but not the end of the world. Land. Okay. Vortex is nice. I think we just cast this one from our graveyard and kick it and put that Kami on the bottom. So there's one creature in our graveyards. If we attack with the... I think as if they pull a single enchantment. Oh, we've got the Vortex to protect us. So if they put one enchantment down, split evenly, no, I think we're still good. We can take the cut down now as well. Don't need another Sphinx. I think it was a Sphinx and a cut down. So if they do find something to try to buff any of these, we can get rid of them. Yeah, that's fine. Oh no, we are going to have to chump, aren't we? So no, we'll do. If the thing is, if they, yeah, if I let that resolve, they'll do it on the visitor, and then we just, yeah, we could just put it back in there, put it back on their deck. In their hand, I mean. So if we just cut down that visitor. So they'll use that on the other visitor, force us to chump. So we might as well cut down rather than, because we're going to have to jump either way. Yeah. That's nice. We'll force them to sack one of their creatures. They're going to have to sack the Weaver. No. So if they buff the Weaver, it gets, yeah, we'll just attack. We've got the Vortex. But short of a Tamiyo's, they're not avoiding the Vortex. Which I suppose we're giving them a chance to draw a Tamiyo's, but then that only takes them up to 5 damage. So this is going to give this +3. I think we're okay. It'd have to be a very unfortunate series of events to... I guess I'd have to have a Michiko's and a Tamiyo in hand. Do we just put this back in their hand now? Stop risking with them drawing more cards. The thing is, we don't care about them drawing more now because we've got a Sphinx of Ward 2 and they've only got 2 mana. 3 mana. And I think 1 drop's getting rid of this and they've only got 5 health. Come on, scoop it up, please. That's what you get for being a boring sod and playing the same things post-rotation. That is what you get. Thank God. Okay, everybody, having a quick look at our stats here. So overall, I've played 11 games. We're running only on a 55% win rate with this one, so not quite as good as last time. I would say, if you look down through my versions, the last 2 combined have, you know, about 65% win rate. And then I had a couple of bad versions, which I've made quite a few changes from since then. You know, I really messed around with the deck a lot and tweaked it more towards working with founding the third path, so the version I showed you guys. So I think this deck is better than this win rate just because of the you know, we have actually got things that will work now with the rest of the cards, but it definitely needs some more playing around with. As you saw in the video, I struggled against Grixis. There's some sort of Grixis-y, sort of control-y creature-based decks around still, so maybe that is going to be a challenge, not sure. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in blue-black, probably a little bit more thought out, to be honest, than the red-black one that I played yesterday, but hello Raya. Yeah, it's really good fun to play, and I'm going to be playing with it and tweaking it a little bit more. Love to hear any comments or feedback you guys have. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, especially those who stayed to the end. Until next time, bye for now.